Ushaw is a magnificent estate secluded for 200 years in the heart of the Durham countryside. Reawakening after years of decline, there is breathtaking potential to open up our unique heritage and resources for everyone to explore and enjoy.
There's something kind of magical about a place this old that's seen so many stories. Even if you don't know exactly who lived here or what their stories were, this sense that people loved the place enough to create this building, to create the patterns and the curlicues and all the detail, that all meant something. And that for centuries people have lived here and prayed here and walked here and had doubts here. And the atmosphere, when you walk in, you can sense that stillness.
Ushaw's origins lie in the political and religious turmoil of the Reformation, when an English college was established in France to educate British Catholics. 2 centuries later, the French Revolution forced them to flee the country. Settling just outside Durham, Ushaw emerged as one of the most important centres for faith and learning in England. Ushaw's 12 listed buildings are the pinnacle of Gothic Revival architecture, the most important collection of designs by the Pugin family. It is set in 550 acres, including formal gardens, parkland and woodland.
Well, I came up here one time just to visit, and I was so amazed and surprised at what the building was like and what it had to offer and the beauty of it. And then I realised they were looking for volunteers, and I thought, yes, I definitely want to go up there, because I just felt it's such a spiritual place, it's so beautiful, it's different at all different times of the year. You meet such a range of people, and I just love volunteering. I love spending time here. It's just a very special place for me, and I think for a lot of people who come here as well. It's beautiful. It's a joy to come here.
I just really like the architecture in the chapel. I think there's a lot of colour, which I think is the best bit. The ceilings, like reds and blues and greens, and then the stained glass windows are also really nice colours and stuff. And then there's gold everywhere, and I really like that about it.
Ushaw's world-class collections include 8th century textiles, a sacred ring from a saint's tomb, handwritten notes by a diabolical torturer, astronomical instruments and textiles from royal households.
So Ushaw's got a very rich and varied collection of historical artefacts that we're only just starting to research and learn about. We've been trying to create the proper spaces on site to care for the collections and see that they're stored properly. This room contains a lot of our rich textiles. So we've got a beautiful piece here designed by Augustus Pugin, who was architect involved heavily at Ushaw. It's in great condition because it's part of a red set, which was used less than the other colours. Working here at Ushaw, you were never quite sure what you were going to find next. So going into each room was completely different, and the varied range of historic objects is just fantastic. One of our really interesting finds is a 15th century wooden Italian processional cross, which is painted on both sides. We happened to find this processional cross just randomly in one of the rooms, and I think its historic nature perhaps had been overlooked for some time, but it's a wonderful piece of Italian artwork from the 15th century.
The history of Catholicism is entwined with our national history and interwoven with accounts of intrigue, revolution, persecution and belief that remain as relevant to people today as they have throughout history. Ushaw closed as a seminary in 2011, with parts dilapidated and derelict. When it reopened to the public in 2015, it heralded a new chapter. In just a few years, we've made great strides to developing Ushaw as a major cultural and heritage attraction, growing visitors and participants from 0 to 53,000, and engaging the interest and demand for all Ushaw has to offer.
I come today with with two of my children, one of whom's doing an art workshop based on light and digital images and all kinds of things that I don't understand and the monks would have been completely bemused by. They're all of a sudden rushing around looking for patterns and finding images and comparing them and showing them to each other in a way that you wouldn't expect necessarily. You think, oh yeah, digital, and then you bring them to a place like this and it's real for them. It's, you know, they can sense the excitement of the decorations and the symmetry and the meanings and the words, and they've got questions about what does the Latin mean and who was here and why is this carved like this, and automatically it comes to life in a way that it wouldn't if you just were shown a book or a brochure or whatever.
Ushaw's been part of my life from birth. My father was a student here and had lots of friends here that were priests, and it's always been part of my family.
With more than 100 active volunteers, Ushaw has become a centre of learning and activity for diverse communities from the local area and across the globe. Its workspaces form a hub for creative practitioners and cultural businesses.
I moved in February and I've just loved being here. I love coming into these beautiful buildings, have a great view out of my window, and I've got all my things in one place. And there's beginning to be a real kind of community activity between the different artists here.
For any creative industry, it's wonderful because you bounce off each other and you kind of cross over on work and contacts and things like that. So it's that whole eclectic mix that just draws you in here.
Together, these diverse elements have the potential to form a truly integrated creative ecosystem that serves the needs of local people, tourists, businesses, families, those in need, young and old.
I think that's often what's lacking, is you'll get sort of important historical buildings or National Trust places and there isn't that hook. I think if you can just get people in, then it makes links between people. They talk about what they've seen and they come back and they invest in it, and it brings it back to life in a way. This sort of semi-slumbering place, as it was for a while, then gets colour and light back into it, which I think is really special.
The impact of our development will generate outcomes that will be transformational for heritage, for people and communities, regionally and nationally, bringing our extensive site together to unlock potential and achieve sustainability.